Number 10. Doki Doki Literature Club. Now I know what you might be thinking. Oh, what are you, a weeb? I will kill you right now. But let me tell you something. Just because a game uses anime as its main source of art doesn't make me a weeb. So shut up. Now, I wanted to talk about this game because this story is very intelligently written. It is very nice dialogue. It makes me laugh. It has a very nice sense of humor as well. It also has a very interesting questions, and it talks about some very interesting topics, such as if you live in a simulator. It's very interesting to read about this actually. But here's the complaints. What I don't like about this game is that it has barely any replay value. Once you play through the game, you play through the game. There's nothing more to understand. There's nothing more to find in the actual game. Not if you go through the files. Then there is some interesting stuff, but there's nothing else to explore in the main game. It's just a good story. So it doesn't have a very good replay value, but it does have a very good, well-written story, and I think that's the point I'm trying to get across, even though I talk like a complete stupid shithead. So let's move on to number 9. Number 9, Five Nights at Freddy's. Now I know what you might be thinking as well. Oh, you like a little bit of Five Nights at Freddy's as well. Well, I'm gonna cut you until you bleed. Well, that's not rational at all. Stop thinking that. Well, that's not rational thinking at all, is it? So stop thinking way fast like that, you creep. I was just joking around. Well, that's not rational at all, so stop. Now, I will say this. I will admit this. The scares are pretty lazy. It's just simple jump scares. There's nothing else to it. Now I have to admit, the game isn't the best quality. It doesn't have the best scares and all, but it does have an incredibly scary atmosphere, which I think is phenomenally scary. It has an incredibly unsettling atmosphere with sounds. The ambience is very creepy and to listen to because it just feels like they're moving. It feels really scary and very atmospheric. And also when they close in, it's pretty stressful as well. Playing the 2020 mode is actually very frustrating, and it's very frustrating, but it isn't scary. That's the problem. It isn't scary. It's mostly just frustrating. You get angry. You just smash the screen of your computer. That's the problem. It's not scary. It's more frustrating, but it still is very fun to just play back and enjoy the good old days when the times were pretty simple. So that's why this game is slightly better than Doki Doki Literature Club. So that's all I have to say about this game. Let's move on to number 8. Number 8, Super Smash Bros. Ultimate. Now, this is pretty much the best selling game on the Nintendo Switch right now. Sure, it's not the best selling game, but it's a very high amount of users. Everyone likes it. It has a very high rating. A lot of people like it, obviously. But now I'm prepared to say something you're not gonna like, that I think would be considered a very irrational thought. So be prepared for some disturbing content. I'm gonna say it. Super Smash Bros. Ultimate is overrated, in my opinion. Yes, I just said that. I think this game is very overrated. I think people praise it for too much. I feel people are are allowed to have their own opinions. I accept that. But is it really that good? Is it really the best Smash Bros. Game of all time? I personally think that there isn't a best Super Smash Bros. Game, because they all feel like just experiments. They never feel complete. They never feel like, They never feel completed. They never feel like the Super Smash Bros. Series was never perfect, and I don't think it will ever be perfect. But I had really fun playing with friends with this game, and that's where the game shines the most. Playing with friends, because I have really fun playing with friends. Just chilling and playing battles. It's really fun. But the single player mode, this game has the same problem as Super Smash Bros. 4. It's lack of single player. Now, this is a pretty common fact. Super Smash Bros. 4 had very lacking single player modes. This game has it as well. Sakurai removed a lot of the content from the previous games just to make one single mode for single player, and it isn't even worth it. The Super Smash Bros. Ultimate story mode, there isn't much of a story, too much to do, but it's called Spirit mode. Now, I personally don't like this mode at all. I personally think it's just... Here's the thing. There is no story, really. There is nothing, explained, really. It's just, hey, this happened, now you go save everyone. There is nothing explained. There is nothing interesting going on. If I don't really give a shit about anything about that mode, then why should I really spend time on it? I don't care. I don't care about all of these people just getting trapped, because there's no reason. What is this thing? Like, it can bring back Master Hands. What is this? The source of Master Hands? It doesn't make too much sense to me, and it's never revealed until the end, which I think is just, it's just terrible. I think it's just very bland. There's nothing to fight for, really. Just besides getting back all the characters. But it's nothing... other things to fight for. There's nothing to explore. Like, there's nothing of the story to explore. The only thing I really like about this mode is the map. The map is huge, and there's a lot of things to explore. Too bad you can't even do that, because every second you have to fight. Every single second you have to enter a fight, and you win a spirit that level from useless to just completely useless. There's no use for spirits at all. Not in my opinion. I never really used spirits. I always was a fan of trophies. I always preferred trophies. Now that's all I had to say about story mode, spirits mode, or whatever you call it. But still, this game has a very fun, playing with friends. There's a lot of fun. All the characters are also incredibly well designed. They have a lot of fun moves. There's also stages. There's a big variety of stages, but it isn't enough to, there isn't enough single player mode. Such as, where's the stage builder? I always wanted the stage builder. I know that's a very obscure thought, but I really liked Stage Builder in Super Smash Bros. 4. I would generally be really happy if they just brought it back, because I really liked that mode. I thought it was really fun. And also, Home Run Contest. That was in the games, and that was in Super Smash Bros. Since Super Smash Bros. Melee. Why remove that? It's such an icon. And also, where is Target Smash? I don't really need to say anything. Where is Target Smash? This game has been in Super Smash Bros. 64, the original game. Why isn't it there? Why did he even remove it in the first place? Sakurai, why? Why is it so difficult? And also, assist trophies. I've been incredibly disappointed with the choices of the assist trophies. Many of the assist trophies were requested characters, such as Knuckles, Crystal, Shovel Knight, and so on. This is just pathetic. Why wouldn't you make them characters? Were they difficult to program? Didn't you find any moves? I mean, how did you even find moves in the first place for Fox? He's a completely original character. You could come up with moves over the other characters as well. You have a complete moveset, for example, Knuckles. You have great inspiration for him. I don't want to explain too much because, you know, it's gonna be a long video then. But I can make an entire video why I don't like about Super Smash Bros. Ultimate. But because I have to cover other games as well, I'm gonna spare you for now, Sakurai. I'll be back. Maybe. Maybe. Nah, don't count on it. Let's move on to number 7. Number 7. LA Noire. Now, this game is probably the first game that I played as a detective. Detective games where your choices matter the most. Having to fight for a bright future, having to do that and all. I thought it was really fun because it was really well written. It had a lot of choices, which I do really like. And I do really like that that it takes place back in 1940, and it does that very well. It's represented very well. It really does feel like you're in an old time where the times weren't too bright. And I thought it was really fun, just going through stages, blasting through criminals, finding clues, finding out who's the guilty one. I thought it was a great game. That's all I had to say for this game. So let's move on to number 6. Number 6. Outlast. Outlast was a very stressful experience. I thought it was incredibly stressful playing through the game, getting chased every second. I thought it was a lot more stressful than Five Nights at Freddy's, for example. But yes, unlike Five Nights at Freddy's, it's a lot better because you can actually wander around. It's a lot better because you can move around a lot. You can explore areas. That's what's so scary about it. Going into an unknown area, it's scary. It's a lot scarier and there's a lot more tension to it. But I do have to say this. There isn't much of a replay value as well, which is a bit of a letdown. But you don't need to replay because you remember it so well. It's such an icon. It's such a memorable experience. It's scary. It's stressful. The story is very good. It has a very complicated story as well, and it's also very reminiscent to Cabin in the Woods, the movie. Yes, it feels actually very reminiscent to Cabin in the Woods, how it goes from a very asylum to a very cool lair down underground. Spoiler alert, sorry for spoiling a bit of the movie. But yeah, there isn't much else to say about this game. It's very scary and stressful. So let's move on to talk about number 5. Number 5, Mortal Kombat XL. I clearly remember how fun this game was. Cracking combos, playing my favorite character of all time in that game, Leatherface. I know he's a pretty underrated character in my opinion. But it was really fun cracking combos with just Leatherface. That's one of the main reasons I bought this game, because of Leatherface and Jason as well. But I thought it was really fun. I played through the game a lot. It was really fun, fighting, cracking combos. And the story mode wasn't too bad after all, because it actually had a story, unlike Super Smash Bros. Ultimate. Now, I do have to say this as well. So the graphics are incredibly nice. If you just look at it, it's incredibly gnarly to look at a fatality. Getting split in half, head chopped off, ripped apart. Getting his face to fall off and his brain fall out. It's incredibly gnarly to look at, but I love gore, so it's not a surprise because I do really like gore, and I think the fatalities are also one. The fatalities are one of the parts I really like this game because it's just it's fun to look at how creative they can be with violence. That's all I have to say for this game. So move along to number 4. Number 4, Grand Theft Auto 5. I do really like this game. The story mode as well. The story mode and the online games are very fun as well. Especially the story mode because it has a very good story and it's very fun to go through the story. It's very fun meeting all these characters. It's fun doing the missions. They're incredibly fun and the story is very good. And the ending is very satisfying. Now, The online mode is not a story mode. There is not much of a story there at all. Okay, there isn't a story at all, but it's really fun, playing around because there's a lot more choices in the online mode. You can, you can get yourself a lot of money, you can buy weapons, you can buy clothes. There's a lot more free will in the online mode, but it's still, I like the story mode a little better because there is like actual character, there is actual story, there's a lot more interesting to listen to. So in overall, I think this is a really good game still. Alright, that's all I had to say about that game. Let's move on to number 3. Number 3, Dead by Daylight. Yes, Dead by Daylight. I have to say this at first. I'm gonna sound like I hate this game, but I have to get this out of the way. This game is incredibly unbalanced and unfair and incredibly frustrating, playing as a killer mostly. The killer and the survivor are incredibly unbalanced. There's a lot more, the survivors have a lot more strengths, and the killer just feels very underpowered. I definitely feel like they need some buffs. But this game does hold a very special place in my heart because when I first picked it up, I played a lot of it. I played a shit out of this game because I did really love this game. Because it was really fun, killing all of these people, getting blood points. It was really fun upgrading. And it's also really fun, playing as Michael Myers, Leatherface, Freddy Krueger. Okay, not Mike as Freddy Krueger. He's not the greatest killer, but he's pretty good, in my opinion. It's very fun playing all of these variety as killers. There is also a lot of variety of original killers, such as the Trapper, the Wraith, the Hillbilly, a lot of other people. There's a lot of like original killers, which I think is very good because there's a lot of variety to choose between killers. Survivors as well. There's a lot of survivors. They all have their individual perks, which also is a very good thing. You can also upgrade your killers and survivors as well for items, add-ons to power up your killers. It's very fun, collecting points and upgrading your killer and survivor. So overall, I think this game is still pretty good, even though it's incredibly frustrating and there's a lot of issues they need to fix. Alright, let's move on to number 2. Number 2, Super Mario 64. This game is amazingly good. There's barely any flaws with this game. This is incredibly good. The levels are all amazingly designed. It's very fun playing through them all. The story is also very generic, Bowser kidnapping Peach and all. But I do not play this game just because of the story, but because of how fun it is, going through levels. Because the incredible part about this game is that the levels are so well designed, it's also really fun. Also, I have to add to this, the music is incredibly good. It's very nice, listen to. It could be calm at times, it could be very jolly at times. It's incredibly well composed. That's all I had to say for this game. So please stay tuned for number 1, the epic ending. And the number 1 is Undertale. Yes, Undertale. I know what you might be thinking. This game is pretty dead. No one plays this anymore, so you should just stay away from this game. It's underpowered. It's dead. Stop. But sure, a lot of people don't play it. It isn't as popular as it was before. But it's incredibly good. I love this game. It's so good. The dialogue, the music, all of the story. The story is what the game is best about. The story is incredibly good. It has very big twists. Everything you do changes the game. Everything you kill changes the game. If you choose to kill, everything is genocide. If you choose to spare everything, it's pacifist. You choose everything, and if it affects the game, the ending is incredibly satisfying, and the twist is phenomenal. I did not see that coming. Also, the music is incredibly memorable. It's incredibly good. It's well composed. It's incredibly good. And what's so funny about it is that it's most of the soundtrack is just a remix of one song. I've read it on IMDb, and they claim that actually only 14 songs are original in the entire soundtrack. 14, that's incredible, and it still sounds like amazingly good. And also the dialogue is so well written that you can form an identity of a character just by reading the text. A very few games can do that. It's incredibly well written. It's just phenomenally written. I can't express how good it is. I loved this game because at first I heard of it, I never really understood it. I never really cared about it because I thought it was just, a simple RPG. Who gives a shit? It's just, it's a pixelated RPG. Who cares? Everyone said it was great. I was just like, come on, it's just an RPG. What is so special about it? And it took me about what was it like 3 years or something until the game was like before the game was released. It took me 3 years to actually buy it on the Nintendo Switch and play it. And I got like when I first bought it, I had pretty low hopes. I was just like, well, why not? I think it's gonna be a pretty fun experience. And I ended up loving this game. I couldn't stop playing it. I played through it a lot. I've just recently begun trying to, you know, trying to beat pacifist on all of my Nintendo Switch accounts, which is just because I just want to do it. It's just fun to play for the game. There's a lot of secrets, everything. It has everything. It has everything a good game wants, which I think that's why this game is on number one, because it's incredible. It's just phenomenally, amazingly good. So that's all I had to say for that game, and that's all my top 10 favorite games. I love to play. I love them. That's personally the ones that are the coolest ones, that are the best ones that I love playing, and the ones I remember the most. So that's all for this today. Please subscribe to PewDiePie and my channel.